It is so crazy how fast time is flying. We are literally 11 months in, in the union as a pipe fitter apprentice. And overall, I gotta say that it's been awesome. I've actually just been learning a lot. And if some of you guys are new or you come across this, video, I am basically just documenting, my journey as an apprentice in the union, throughout all the 5 years of this apprenticeship that I will have to go through. And I'll be bringing you guys an update every single month of, how that month went. So with that being said, for the month of April, so I have actually been doing a lot of layout for the hangars that we are installing on this building that we are working on. And I have done this before, like I talked to, months ago, how I'm laying out with something called a Hilti. It makes laying out much easier, and just one person can lay out an entire floor all by themselves. So to give you guys a quick rundown on how that works, I basically set up this camera like on a tripod in the corner of the floor, and I carry around this tablet that already has the drawings, and it even has the point of where these hangers are gonna go. So basically this camera scans the entire floor, and it basically pinpoints of where certain things are gonna go. I go to where the camera is pointing and I just basically mark the floor. And for the month of April, that is something that I have been doing consistently. And also one thing I found out, that this layout tool is not just for hangers, because that is mostly what I have been using it for. But recently I actually got to lay out like a huge concrete pad. You could say this pad was like maybe like 30 feet by like 20 feet. What this tool allowed you to do is to grab each corner of the pad, and that basically gives you the layout for the concrete pad, which was pretty awesome to do. And now I am really excited to talk about this one. We actually had something called Crane Day. And what this is that, our contractor gets a crane, and these huge units are being lifted all the way onto the rooftop, which was something, cool to experience. And there's different groups that you will, be set in. For example, there's people that are gonna unwrap the units when they come in the, the flatbeds of the 18-wheelers. That crew unwraps the units because it's wrapped in plastic. So they unwrap that huge unit. Those units were like maybe like probably like 15 feet tall, so it was a lot of wrapping to do there. And then of course, after that crew unwraps the unit, it's then taken to the group that does a lot of the hoisting. So they will set up the shackles, put the straps on. They will also add like a tagline as well. And then there was the crew that was on the rooftop, which would guide this huge unit into specific spots on the rooftop. A lot of them were really tight to get in, but we made it possible. I was on the unwrapping crew, so I was really just unwrapping these units, cleaning up the area after, all that plastic, all that cardboard and plastic was on the floor. And it was so cool, experiencing that, because who knows when the next time I'm ever gonna experience that. Because remember guys, this is a new construction building, and I gotta say that is something that was, it was awesome to experience that. And now that is what I did in the field, and now let's move on to how things are going in school. As you guys know, of course, I am still taking, both my classes, which is, plumbing code and welding class. Plumbing code is basically has remained the same. We're reading through the code book, highlighting things that might be on the quiz, studying those, reading out loud in the class, doing a lot of studying and a lot of, quizzes on these sections that we read. And now let's talk about welding. Of course, I am still, working on my vertical weld. Actually, a lot of my classmates have moved on to pipe, but I'm still focusing on the plate, because that is something I want to, in a way, I just really want to hone that skill of vertical on plate first before moving on to pipe, which is what we'll do for the, the rest of our career. So basically what I'm saying is I want to feel kind of ready to move on to the pipe in a way. When I feel I want to give, pipe a go, I'll do it. So like I had mentioned, the month of April, I was just focusing on vertical plates. Some of the advice I've gotten is to just keep that, rod real close and narrow when you do that first route. Don't try to go too wide and pick up too much metal, but keep it narrow in there And after the other passes, you go a little bit wider. And of course, I have learned to slow down, take my time. It's just so nerve-wracking seeing that puddle come down. And I understand that it's all about patience, taking my time with it, and moving like at a reasonable pace. That is all I've got for this month's update. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you made it to the end, thank you. I will see you guys next month. But for right now, guys, have a blessed day.